What's going on, beautiful people? I just want to welcome you to my channel, The Empty Cup. I figured that I would take this as an opportunity to introduce myself, talk about my background a little bit, as well as kind of let you guys know what type of content you can expect to see in the future. So without further ado, let's go. So I was raised in a non-denominational Christian household, and I stayed on that path until about 2016. That's when things really started to shift for me. So it's kind of strange. I said a prayer, to God, and I just said, please give me the spirit of discernment. I wanted the ability to distinguish truth from falsehood. I was just trying to learn as much about my faith as I possibly could, no matter whether it was going to be good, bad, or ugly. I just wanted to know the truth. And ironically, I feel like that was exactly what I needed, but it took me out of my faith. I actually feel closer to Christ and his teachings now than I ever did while I was a nominal or a conventional Christian. If that's not the case for you, then that is totally cool. Like, I'm not trying to encourage anybody to convert to a new religion or abandon the tradition that they hold near and dear to themselves at this moment, because I feel like truth can be found everywhere. There's wisdom to be had in all of these beautiful traditions. I do want to be transparent. I am a practicing Buddhist, but in no way, shape, or form do I feel like Buddhism has a monopoly on truth, on enlightenment, or liberation. It's just the path that resonates with me the most. So you're gonna hear me reference Buddhism a lot, like in the future, just because it's brought so much positivity into my life that naturally I want to share that. But this is not exclusively a Buddhist channel. So yeah, who is this channel for? This channel is for anybody that is seeking practical spiritual advice. They're seeking truth and peace. And I want to do it in a way that's fun, relaxed. I want us to be able to have a good time, and I want to foster a strong sense of community. I want people to look forward to when these uploads come out on a week-by-week basis. I want people to, when they're finished watching these videos, feel uplifted, leave lighter, sharper, and better than before they watched the video. I really want people to be active in the community, active in the comments section, and uplifting each other. Because I've watched videos on social media, went down to the comments section, and it blows my mind, like some of the things that people say to each other. I cannot believe how one human being could talk to another human being like that. And I don't mean to sound judgmental. It's just that I really want to lead by example and build a community that also leads by example, where we just go in the opposite direction. I challenge you as a viewer of this content that when you encounter somebody that is extremely negative towards you, rather than like reciprocating that energy, I challenge you to go deeper, to inquire as to what could have possibly happened to that individual to make them behave this way. What is it that makes somebody so negative that they feel the need to just spew this toxicity over everybody that they come in contact with? I don't believe that people are inherently evil. I actually believe the opposite. We're inherently good, but we don't realize that. We don't recognize that on a day-to-day basis. We come to identify with our negative qualities. We forget our inherent goodness, and it affects the way that we interact with people on a day-to-day basis. But if we could experience our own inner greatness, or what my spiritual mentor calls our fundamental okayness, it would inform every act that we commit, every thought that we entertain in our mind stream. This channel, like I said, is not meant to cause people to abandon their spiritual tradition. I actually want to promote people to go deeper within their spiritual traditions. Because if you look back far enough, like every religion has a mystical component. The mystical Christians were called the Gnostics. The mystical Muslims are called Sufis. When it comes to Judaism, you have the Kabbalists. Within the Dharmic traditions of India, you've got the yogis. I'm not trying to discredit the wonderful spiritual literature all over the world, like the Bible, the Quran, the Vedas, or anything like that. But we need to really put into context what those scriptures were written for, who they were written for. Those ancient books had a particular audience in mind. That audience was a community of initiated people. Like, those books were not written for your average Joe Schmo to just pick up and be able to understand. And I think that's what we fail to realize nowadays. You know, like, we pick up the Bible, or we pick up the Quran, or we pick up the Vedas, and we think, oh yeah, I'm gonna read through this and I'm gonna grasp what it's saying. But no, there were institutions designed to educate the disciples of these various traditions, so that when they read these books that were written in deeply esoteric language, they would understand what these books were talking about. But we're so far removed, because it's been thousands of years and we've appropriated these books into our own culture, that we're not gonna get it. Which is why it's so important to get back in touch with the esoteric, mystical components of our faith. Because then we're gonna start to get direct experience. We're gonna get Gnosis, or jnana, which means direct experience. So that when we read these books, we'll actually understand what they're talking about. It's like if you were in a room with 3 people and 2 of them are arguing about what an orange tastes like. This one's saying, I think that oranges are salty. And the other person's saying no, I think that oranges are sweet. And then you've got the person in the middle that's not arguing at all, because they're the only one that's actually tasted an orange before. They're not gonna waste their energy arguing with anybody. There's nothing that this person or this person could say to them to influence their opinion, because their opinion is grounded in direct experience. That's what we need to get back to. Because when spirituality devolves to dogma, when it devolves to this system of blind faith, where we're just keeping these old beliefs alive because it was written in some ancient book thousands of years ago, that's such a dangerous way to live. Some systems of belief use fear as a motivating factor. And it's effective, don't get me wrong, but it's so dangerous. Because when you've got people keeping a belief alive or living a certain way because they fear eternal damnation, the psychological impact that has on somebody, that will get somebody to completely abandon their own critical thinking skills, completely deny their own sensory experience, and they'll just adopt somebody else's worldview, like some guy from way long ago, just because they're afraid. They're afraid that if they don't fall in line, they're going to spend eternity in hellfire. This thing that we fear, we're not even sure whether it exists. We don't even know who these people were that wrote this stuff. It's every individual's responsibility to take accountability for what it is that they believe in and why it is they believe in it. We all need to do our research. Another thing that I promote here is free thinking. I encourage people to question everything, to include every word that comes out of my mouth. Do I know what I'm talking about, or am I just bullshitting? Am I making stuff up? That is your job, to do your own research. And I feel like the ultimate metric on whether what I'm saying has any truth or not is going to be the effect that it has on your life. If it benefits you in some way, shape, or form, if the things that you learn here, when you apply them, make you into a happier, kinder, and more compassionate version of yourself, then amazing, mission accomplished. That's what I'm trying to achieve here. But if this stuff isn't making sense and it's not benefiting you in any way, then please disregard everything that I have to say. I am not trying to keep you here. It's wonderful if you decide to be a part of this community. I would love to have you. But if you're not benefiting here, by all means, I encourage you to go seek out somebody that has a communication style or that has a message that resonates with you more. Because I'm a firm believer that if we are going to live in the ideal world, or the best version of this world that we possibly could, then all of the individuals living in that world need to be the best versions of themselves. And I think that's accomplished through direct experience of one's own true nature, the divine within. All of the great masters of the past, they weren't seeking followers. They weren't seeking self-glorification. They didn't want a bunch of people to just worship them. They had discovered their own true and divine nature, and then they just made it a point to share that with everybody they came into contact with. So I aspire to be like those people. That's my approach as well. Like there's nothing that I can really teach or talk about that is essentially new. The one thing that I can bring to the table is my unique mode of delivery. Like I've got a distinct flavor, and some people will like that flavor and other people won't, and that is totally okay. Everything that you need to know has already been said. Nobody said it the way I'm gonna say it, and maybe that's the way you need to hear it, but maybe not. Maybe somebody else will reach you, that they'll speak in a language that's easier for you to understand. I like to keep it light. Some people, when they talk about spirituality, they can kind of be like really somber, like really serious. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I do think that a lot of people feel that that's what it means to be spiritual. That's what it means to be enlightened. You have to be like disconnected from the world, and you gotta lose your sense of humor, and you gotta be uptight. I feel like what makes somebody spiritually knowledgeable is, do they display characteristics like simplicity? Are they happy? Are they kind to people that they come in contact with? Are they compassionate? Because what good is it like if somebody is extremely knowledgeable, or that they have this like arcane knowledge, they've got supernatural abilities, but they're an asshole? You know what I'm saying? Like nobody wants to be around them. Like people are repulsed by them. Like what's the point of that? We don't need people that can levitate. We don't need people that can walk through walls. Like we need people that are willing to be understanding. We need people that, want to help feed the hungry, give homes to the homeless, put clothes on the back of people that don't have that stuff. Like that's what we need. We need more kindness. We need more love. In our day and age, it seems like that's really lacking. People are constantly tearing each other down. So yeah, I'm trying to put more love into the universe. And if you share that vision, if that seems right to you, you want to help me manifest that, then I thank you for being here. I want to extend a warm welcome, and let's make it happen.